Well, the Michigan legislature Thursday, July 22nd, approved an initiative to block Governor Gretchen Whitmer, a Democrat, from exercising what she's continued to claim are her emergency powers to lock down businesses, schools, and churches, impose mask mandates and gathering bans, impose fines on those who don't comply, and commandeer privately owned medical supplies. It sounds really good what happened in Michigan last week. It sounds awesome. They're stopping Gretchen Whitmer. But a profound lesson about liberty lies at the heart of this, and the danger actually is not over. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. You know, the move last week is the culmination of two major actions begun last year. The first of those being an October 2nd Michigan Supreme Court ruling that the 1945 State Emergency Powers of the Governor Act was unconstitutional. Gee, what a shock. That act, along with a subsequent adjustment of it in 1976 and the mid-2000s adoption of the Model State Health Emergency Powers Act that many legislatures passed around the same time, formed the fraudulent so-called justification Whitmer repeatedly employed for her lockdowns and mandates. Whitmer even went so far as to claim the power to continue issuing her diktats after the Michigan Supreme Court said she couldn't last fall. On the same day as the Supreme Court ruling, Michiganders filed a citizens' initiative to stop Whitmer from claiming such power. Gee, maybe they worried she might try to continue. In fact, the Michigan Secretary of State in April determined that there were 460,000 valid signatures, and the legislature approved the move on Thursday. And since this is a citizen initiative rather than a bill, Whitmer can't veto it like she did a bill that would have done the same thing that was passed last winter. Speaking to Fox News on Friday, Michigan Congresswoman Lisa McClain, who's a Republican, noted,
"It was the voice of the people saying enough is enough."
That might be an understatement. Whitmer's invidious authoritarianism and hypocrisy not only saw her attempt to, among many tyrannical moves, close the barbershop run by a beloved elderly gentleman, but also impose quarantine and travel restrictions even as she, her husband, and one of her top aides were caught breaching their own travel and gathering edicts. It saw her utterly breach most of the Bill of Rights and the contract clause of the U.S. Constitution and bring religious residents, business owners, employees, and consumers to their economic knees under the power of her statist boot. But the nightmare is not over. As ABC 12 Michigan reports, though the executive branch powers have been ruled unconstitutional, and though the initiative to block Whitmer was authorized and made official policy as of last week, quote, despite the emergency powers of the Governor Act being repealed, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services retains authority to make public health orders with the separate public health code. The law was not affected by the Supreme Court ruling or repeal of the 1945 law. Which brings us back to the mid-2000s and the move in Michigan, as well as many other states, to adopt into statute aspects of the 2001 so-called Model State Health Emergency Powers Act. This is important. It was the brainchild of leftist Georgetown law professor Lawrence Gostin, working in conjunction with 7 others and with Johns Hopkins University. Now, people might be familiar with such unconstitutional legislation in their own states, and if they suffer through the so-called news on CNN, they might be familiar with that network's seeming adoration for lockdowns and for Professor Gostin, who recently appeared with rights-blind Michael Smerconish and former Obama Secretary of Health and Human Services Kathleen Sebelius to call for everyone to get mRNA jabs, for those who don't to be forced to take tests and wear masks, and for businesses to mandate them for employment or admission.
They either get the jab or they have to get 2 tests per week. They have to mask up. But we should absolutely make sure that if you make a decision not to be vaccinated, that you just have no right to go unmasked and unvaccinated in a crowded workplace. And that's the bottom line.
Which indicates that law professor Gostin doesn't understand the meaning of rights. You most certainly have a right to go unmasked or unjabbed in a crowded workplace. Likewise, the owner of a shop has the right to ask potential workers or visitors to be jabbed or wear masks. And we have rights to refuse and go elsewhere. It's authoritarians like Gostin and those in government who do not have a right to tell us how to engage in peaceful, voluntary agreements. Rights are inherent and universal. Each of us retains them regardless of what politicians say, and we retain the God-given power to exercise them and work with others who also retain their own rights. Government mandates, be they on consumers or business owners, who are really one and the same because we all simply engage in economic exchange and free choice, they are anti-rights and anti-constitutional. They can't in any way be excused by Gostin or his Model State Health Emergency Powers Act, or by Whitmer, or by the remainder of the Michigan legal code that says the Department of Health can institute so-called health emergency edicts. Whitmer has been stripped. She's been stopped from claiming she's got this power over others. But the state of Michigan will continue to operate under the pernicious idea promulgated by Professor Gostin. The idea that you're not free to control your own property and agreements with others of equal freedom. It is utterly, utterly evil. It's the mindset of feudal lords. To them, you're a serf, someone to be told how to live by agents of the state. This is the disease we need to recognize and fight. And of course, we'll always have to fight it. It's the history of mankind. To stop people from gaining power over others, especially through the most pernicious creation of man, the state. Thanks for watching, everybody. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're watching on Rumble, thank you so much for joining us there. We'll see you on Facebook. We'll see you in Twitter. We'll see you on TikTok. We'll see you in Parler. We'll see you at MRCTV.org. Head over there as often as you can. For MRC TV, thanks for watching again. I'm Gardner Goldsmith.